What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Coding Treehouse. In this video, I'll be walking you guys through the most important page on any website in a great beginner-friendly front-end development project, the login page. Without further ado, let's get started. Open up VS Code, and if you don't have the application, in the description down below, I will link the downloadable content for VS Code. And next, you're going to open up folder, create a new folder, and you're just going to call it login page. Next, you're going to start with your basic folder structure: index.html, styles.css, and script.js. In your index, remember shift exclamation point for the template, double tab, treehouse, because this is treehouse code, treehouse login, link :CSS for the template, and then script :src, like we learned in the last video, for the template for your script. We're going to do a div.wrapper to create a div with a class of wrapper, and div.card to create a class for your div of card. h1.title does that as well. Coding Treehouse platform. You want to make an h4 with sign in, and that br space / is just a line break. So it just makes an indentation between your h4 and the start of your form element. We want to make an input for the username, an input for the password, and those are self-closing elements which are identified at the end of that element. It's just a slash, a / with that end. And then of course the sign in button. I'm gonna type of submit, and then it's just gonna be login. Okay, now we're going to hit the Go Live button at the bottom right hand side of the screen so we can get that instance running. So that's what your HTML looks like. And now we're going to move on to styles. So I'm just going to paste the styles in there, and I'm just going to explain it. So for this one, the box sizing, border box, margin 0, padding 0, just makes everything all the way to the top and then to the left hand side. So it just takes out all of the default stylings for everything. So for body in HTML, we want these things to be the exact same. So you would just put a comma between each segment, so it just styles the entirety of both things the exact same. So we just want that height to be 100, the font family, and the background color, with a line height which just spreads out each line. And for anything with a .wrapper class, which is identified by the period, it's just going to have those basic styles. And align content, align items, and justify content just centers everything. With the card, the only peculiar thing here is the border radius augments the shape of the borders. As opposed to it being sharp, it is now rounded, and the box shadow just includes that shadowing that's behind it, so it makes it really pop. For the title, it augments just the title, Coding Treehouse Platform, and you notice how that gradient goes from left to right and it's green, or rather right to left and it's green in black. And then the code underneath just sets it so the text is transparent, so you can see the coloring behind, making a gradient, that gradient style. Now for the input that has a type of text and the input that has a type of password, which is just the input forms, you use that identification so you can augment the components of these elements. And then that's just your basic styling for those. Now, input with a type of text and the type of password with a colon focus just deems it so that when you scroll over either one of the input boxes, it is now focused. It's in a focused state, and it augments the focused state of these elements, which the outline would disappear with a border color and a box shadow of green. You guys will be able to see that pretty soon, but when you roll your mouse over it, it just has a green highlight around. These are the basic styling for the button. So we want that width, the padding around it, so it moves, right to the center of that, and there's just some buffer between the signs, with that text align being center, just so it centers perfectly, and a box shadow of that green, so it makes it look like that button is really glowing. Now the button hover augments it so when you roll your mouse over it, it shortens it. That's what that transform scale does. And the box shadow becomes black, so it differentiates when you're hovering over it. So now we are going to go to the logic behind this login page. So first, we want to const, which just associates a value to form, and document.getElementID with the login form just associates whatever the const is, and it associates it with the element that has the ID of login form. And it does the same thing for email input, document.getElementID. And we're going to use those below, so that's why we're just making const for them really quick. And of course, we want to make a password input that attaches to the ID of password. So when you type in that password on your screen, it sends that data to password input that we just created. So the form.addEventListener essentially listens for whatever precedes the parentheses, which is the submit. So once you click on the submit button, the form listens to the submit, and then the function with a parentheses of E triggers an event. And that event sends down to what we're typing now. Now the e.prevent default essentially deems it so that when you hit submit, or when you hit that login button, it doesn't send you to a different page. So e.prevent default just keeps you right here in this login page. Now, we made those const email input and password input, and now we're going to associate those two with the username and password with a input email and password input .value.trim, which just that trim function does at the end of that just deems it so that if there are any spaces or anything when you type in a password or you type in the username, it just takes that data out and it just leaves the raw data sent over to that const. And we're just going to make a ternary operator of an if username with that exclamation point in the beginning means that the username is not. So if not username, meaning if nothing is typed into the username or nothing is typed into password, it's going to alert, please enter username and password, and then return. And we're going to make one more ternary operator that if the username is exactly equal to Snoop Dogg and the password is exactly equal to pass, then the form would submit, because it's going to alert the user the login is successful. That about sums it up. 1,000 thanks to all of you for checking out my video. If you liked the video, go ahead and like and subscribe, because in the next I'll be walking through another beginner-friendly portfolio gem. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, or requests, feel free to comment below and I'll do my best to respond to every single one of you. Until next time, signing off.